Good afternoon, people. The bait and switch tactic. So Kanye West, Candace Owens, and all other Republican African Americans are asking Democrat African Americans to switch party cannot see what's going on. They want us to vote to a party where we will have no voice. The president doesn't campaign in the poor communities because he doesn't need their vote. Every time he meets with African Americans, it's to discuss prison reform, as if that's the only issue affecting our community. How about we focus on keeping African Americans out of prisons? How about we focus on keeping all Americans out of prison? To me, that's a more productive meeting. Currently, there is only one Republican African American senator. Only two Republican African Americans hold House seats. They haven't made any progress to have a voice to get the Republican Party to pay attention to the issues that affect the poor. Currently, there are two Democratic African American senators and 46 African Americans hold House seats. We can see progress in the Democratic Party. We are being given an opportunity for our voice to be heard. Why would I vote for a party that doesn't give us an opportunity? That's all we're looking for is an opportunity, not a handout. They want us to deflect and end the current progress that has been made. That's foolishness. We would be turning back the clock on all the progress that has been made. The Democratic Party is the only party that fights for programs to benefit the poor. The Republican Party claims to fight for godly values, yet they would strip all women from the right to choose. If you are fighting for godly principles, the first godly principle is to give humans free will to choose life or death for themselves. God knew Adam and Eve would eat from the tree, and he allowed it. It's through our failures we learn and grow as humans. Imagine not having to teach your children right from wrong. Wouldn't that remove a parent's responsibility of raising their children? God could have removed our ability to choose, and that would have removed love from this world as well, because love requires a choice. Love requires sacrifice. Love requires us to forgive those who have wronged us. I honestly don't see how any evangelical can vote Republican. Here's why. As followers of Christ, you should be aware that the government must govern repentant sinners and unrepentant sinners. You cannot force someone to obey your God. That means you govern to address the concerns of all people. So all people can live prosperous lives. When God gave the law, he specifically told Moses to speak to the children of Israel, not speak to the world. God isn't trying to govern the world. He's calling out the people who are willing to devote their lives to his purpose. We all know abortion is wrong. The person who chooses to abort their baby will be held accountable for that, not me. Will you charge God for allowing the abortion to take place? Will you judge God for giving us free will? Isn't that why we sin? We sin because we choose to sin. We choose to disobey God's law. If you want to fact check anything that I've said, please do. Search the scriptures. God didn't tell Moses to force anyone to do as he commanded. It was their choice to love God and devote their lives to serve him. I pray this message touches the heart of anyone it was intended to, so we can stop all this Republican versus Democrat nonsense and support a party that will give us a seat at the table. Lastly, let me be clear. I'm not saying the personnel holding these seats must be African Americans, but they do have to have a heart to help all people, to give us all a shot at living our best life. Like I said, man, I just hope that touches you guys, man, because I'm just looking for us to stop all of this nonsense and continue the progress that has been made. We had our first, well, they say Abraham Lincoln was black, or he was mixed or whatever, but sort of like how Barack Obama was, but not as much. I think Barack probably was a more higher percentage of African American descent. But anyway, we had Barack Obama was the last president. And we see how they disrespected him when he was in office. But if we sit here and deflect over to a party that doesn't even give us an opportunity to even be a senator or have house seats, I mean, you can look at the president's his cabinet, right? You can look at his cabinet and see that we aren't given an opportunity for our voices to be heard. I mean, he has Ben Carson. I think he's the head of urban house development. And y'all don't see the disrespect there. You mean to tell me there aren't any qualified African Americans who can hold one of your key cabinet positions? Even after all of these ones who have been indicted for crimes. So the key is to get an opportunity. Education is important. I need the people who live in these poor communities to understand that education is important. The only way that you're going to get out of the situation that you're in is if somebody gives you an opportunity. You can have all the schooling that you want, but somebody has to give you an opportunity, right? You have to prepare yourself to go in for that interview, but the person who's sitting behind that desk has to look at your credentials and say, is this the person that we want for the job? If that person has racist views, they probably won't give you that job. Even if you're more qualified than the person that they interviewed prior before. You see what I'm saying? That they interviewed before you. They probably wouldn't give you that job. I work in Washington D.C. I see the progress. And that's what it's going to take in order for us to be able to feed our families and provide them a good education. We need a seat at the table. And right now, the Democratic Party is the only party that's going to give us that. So, like I said, I hope that blessed you guys. And I know all the people who study the Word. You know how God's heart is catered to the poor. His heart is catered to the poor. So any party that doesn't cater to the poor is not of God. The God that you serve, the God that the Republicans serve, isn't the God of the Bible. He isn't. And I hate to say that, but it's true. Because they demonize the people that, the people that carries out the abortions. But if someone was to break into their home, they would shoot somebody dead, and they will claim that they're justified to do it, even though, according to the Word of God, it's premeditated murder that they just committed, because they not only planned that situation, right? They went and purchased the weapon with the intent to shoot and kill somebody that threatened their life. So that's premeditated murder, according to the Word of God. And if you want to fact check that, look at the story with Jacob and Esau. When Esau said that when his father died, he would kill Jacob because he felt that Jacob stole his birthright, even though he gave it away. So I hope that blesses you guys, man. I only make videos like this when when my heart is grieved. And I feel for Kanye West right now. because he's being caught in the crossfire right now. And the brother can actually help a lot more people. He has good ideas. And he can help a lot more people, but he's deflecting to the side that doesn't care about him. He only used Kanye West to prop. You know, oh look, I got a black guy that supports me. Kanye West. I like this black guy. But man, like I said, man, I hope that blesses you guys, man. One other thing. So when all the pastors went and sat with President Trump, it wasn't the fact that they went to meet with President Trump that a lot of other pastors who truly are trying to walk in the will of God, that they were upset with those pastors that did it. See, they like I said earlier in my statement, they went to meet about prison reform. We don't care. Listen, I don't care about prison reform. A person that goes to prison has made that choice. They went out there, they stole, they did whatever, they killed somebody. Yeah, okay, they need to have some type of way to be brought back into society, to be a good citizen. But that's not our major issue right now. Our major issue is to be given a seat at the table, to be given opportunities so that we can raise our little black, brown kids with a good education so that they can have a seat at the table, and it can constantly have progress to where all people are given a right to live a decent life. That's what we're looking for. You know, the whole Kaepernick thing and the kneeling, the protest, blacks are being killed out in the street because they made a mistake. I have to bring up my boys. I'm bringing them up in the ways of God so that they will understand not to be angry even when somebody makes them angry. To be angry but sin not. You see what I'm saying? To be quick to listen. Be quick to forgive. Be a person of peace. And hopefully from me teaching them that, they wouldn't be stopped by a police officer and a police officer says something just to get them to respond. You see what I'm saying? And then that police officer can take their life because he was justified because he felt threatened. Okay, this message is going on long enough, but I heard a message from what's that brother named Marcus. And I forgot his name, but he's considered himself a prophet, and he says he doesn't agree with everything Trump says and does, but I hope this message specifically speaks to him. Hopefully he gets this message, because God isn't looking to govern the world. He's calling us out. It's us who have the Spirit of God, who follows God's word, who obeys his word. We're not having abortions. Hopefully, we're not living homosexual lives. Hopefully, right? If we're following his word, we have to be a light. You see what I'm saying? We glorify God by obeying God's laws, being peaceful people, living and trying to live our life in the will of God. Every day we wake up, we're trying to live our life in the will of God. I hope that blesses you guys. Y'all enjoy the rest of your day. God bless.